What's up, guys? This is Kephas.
Not too long ago, there was a post on the WoW subreddit that got a lot of attention. It was a player asking the question, what happened to the World of Warcraft? And this player was lamenting how different the world feels now. How back in the day when they would play the game, there were people everywhere, all over the world, and it made the world feel alive. They would have these small interactions with people. They would have world PvP happening all the time, and it made the game feel special to them. Nowadays, they say, as they roam the world, it feels more empty. They don't really have a lot of interactions with other players, and even when they turn war mode on, not a lot of world PvP ever happens. It's a question that pops up every now and then. Why does the world feel dead? Where is everybody? What happened to the social game? What happened to the player-to-player interactions that made the game feel special? People ask this question all the time. They lament about how WoW almost feels like it's lost its soul, it's lost its color. Honestly, I've been sitting with this one for a couple of weeks. I've been thinking about it, and I've come to something that I think plays a big part in this. There are probably a lot of factors that have led to the game being the way it is now in this regard, why the game doesn't feel as social and feels kind of dead. And what's helped me kind of come to my conclusion might seem entirely unrelated at first, but please bear with me. For the past few weeks, I have been engaged in a separate conversation about World of Warcraft involving something that's coming to the game called Rotation Assistant. And what this does is it allows you to execute your whole rotation with one button. The trade-off being that it will increase your global cooldown time, slowing you down considerably and reducing the amount of damage that you'll be able to do. The reason why Blizzard is adding this to the game, as they say, is because it's an accessibility tool. As you can imagine, this has sparked a pretty big debate in the community. A lot of people have different feelings about this tool coming to the game. As a disabled player, someone who's visually impaired and often an accessibility advocate, I've shared my thoughts as well. Now, my experience in this conversation has been overwhelming support. I've seen mostly positivity on a massive scale, but every now and then I will get some negative comments, as you do when you're on the internet, some particularly nasty ones. My observation is that when it comes to this issue, like with most issues, the vast majority of people don't really have that strong of an opinion. They don't care that much, or they're mostly just waiting to see how it works. But then you have the more vocal minority groups, and I've kind of narrowed them down into two separate groups. There are people on one side who are more hardcore, elitist, sweaty type players, and they worry that this tool essentially is going to undermine skill expression, and they feel that it's going to dumb the game down. And I'll be honest, there is a certain side of me that understands and feel like that's a fair concern to have, even as an accessibility advocate. And then on the other side, you have players who love this tool, but are honestly somewhat resentful that it has any limitations. They feel they should be able to use this tool without any restrictions or any setbacks at all, and it should be able to carry them to the hardest level of content. Skill expression be damned. Now, it might surprise you to find that I don't really agree with this mindset at all. I exist somewhere in the middle, not because I see both sides, but because I view both sides as kind of flawed. I exist in the middle not because I'm riding the fence, but because I'm trying to exist in the nuance. I'm somebody who loves accessibility. I benefit from it. It helps me play video games, but I also value skill and challenge and feel like it should be preserved as much as possible. See, if you can spend the time to learn how to play your class and work on executing your rotation flawlessly, that feels pretty good. But it feels completely invalidated if somebody else doesn't do any of that and can do just as much as you with one button. But on the flip side, this tool has limits. It's not going to carry you to the highest level of difficulty. And that's the good thing about WoW, is that there are multiple levels of difficulty. There are multiple reasons why people play the game, all kinds of different types of content to get involved in. And even if this carries you through certain levels of difficulty, there are still the highest levels, which are the ones that people care about most, the ones that mark the level of skill that you have, like mythics and mythic rating. Players who want to engage with the game at that level of difficulty are simply going to have to break away from rotation assist if they use it, and I think that's fair. I love World of Warcraft. I've been playing it for many years, and I'll be honest, I'm probably going to use rotation assistant when it comes out. But there's a big part of me that wishes I didn't have to. I'm not using it because I want to. I'm using it because I need it to play the game. Long before rotation assist, I've been using a tool called Gnome Sequencer. It's an add-on that basically does the same thing. You can consolidate your rotation into a macro. Very effective, especially when you have a hard time tracking multiple cooldowns and procs and different things. It's not flawless by any means, just like with Rotation Assistant, but it is very helpful. And I've been grateful for that tool, especially as the game becomes increasingly more and more complicated. And so for many years, I've been making guides on Gnome Sequencer, so that other people who are in my boat will have access to the game that they love as well. Because there are a lot of reasons why people play World of Warcraft, and I think that it's a game where even disabled people should have a place. And I'm gonna be honest, I've gotten some flack from a couple people in the GSE community because I paint the tool as a accessibility tool. Now, I'm extremely thankful for GSE, and I feel seen when Blizzard adds one-button rotation assist to the game. But I want to be honest, I view these tools as necessary evils. I would prefer not to have to use them. And the reason why is because in using them, I'm bypassing a part of the game. I'm not engaging with my class and its mechanics, procs, cooldowns, making decisions and using my own discretion and skill to execute my own rotation. And that is a big part of the game, a part that sounds fun, and a part that I wish I could engage with more. I believe that the best kind of accessibility is the kind that allows you to engage with the game more fully, not bypass parts of it entirely. Unfortunately, I've had to rely on the latter, especially as the game becomes more complex. And as it does, tools like these become more necessary, because it gives many players access. Now, when some people hear me talk like this, especially from the hardcore side, I'll occasionally get some nasty comments thrown my way. Usually something like, "You should just quit, WoW isn't for you." I've heard that a few times recently, and I want to be honest, it doesn't really faze me, because it's something that I've heard my whole life. If I listened to everybody that's ever told me that, I would never do anything. Because when you grow up with a disability, you grow up in a world where you feel like it wasn't made for you, like you don't belong, and there are always going to be people that are going to push you out of every space, or at least try to. See, I do Taekwondo, and one of the challenges that I have is making contact because of my vision. I know the techniques, I can execute them, but I have a hard time hitting the right spot. It can be frustrating at times. And there have been a couple people, when I talk about it, who just say I should quit. Find something else to do. Maybe this just isn't for you. They don't want to think about spatial awareness or aiming for center mass or listening, using your other senses, and all the other techniques that I've learned to get better at Taekwondo. And that's the truth. Whenever I hear people say this to me, I just assume that if they were in my shoes, they would have just quit already. But that's not me. I don't quit. WoW is for me because I'm playing it. I've been playing it for almost 20 years. And with all due respect, of all the things I've been involved with in my life, World of Warcraft is the last place where I'm going to take anybody that says that seriously. Because the truth is, most people engage with the game even less than I do. Most people who play this game haven't made an actual decision about it in years. They follow leveling routes and guides rather than exploring. They copy and paste talent builds into their talent trees instead of experimenting. Builds that were figured out with spreadsheets and simulation craft. Even the very class they picked was chosen by some kind of a meta. When they execute the rotation, they're not pressing buttons to figure it out, they looked up a guide, or they use Heliki, or a weak aura. We don't engage with boss mechanics, we engage with DBM. We don't engage with our class, we engage with damage meters. And we simultaneously complain about the game being dumbed down while using third-party tools that dumb it down. And hey, I'm not going to tell you that the way that you play the game is wrong. Play the game however you want. But I'm also not going to listen to you when you tell me that I don't belong. Because at the end of the day, you're just as disengaged with the game as I am. It's just a different part of it. The truth is, whether you're using rotation assist, DBM, or raid bots, it's just another way to disengage with a part of the game. And whether you like it or not, I think there's your answer as to why the game doesn't feel alive anymore. Because we're all still playing the game, but we're not really engaging with it. We've traded engagement for efficiency. We don't really play the game, we obey it. We don't make choices, we follow instructions. Nobody ever got into World of Warcraft because they wanted to look at spreadsheets and crunch numbers, or press one button like a slot machine until they win. And they never will. It was always the world that drew people in. Maybe that's why we're not seeing as many new people anymore. Because we're wondering what happened to that world. We did. Play the game however you want. Let other people do the same. Because at the end of the day, World of Warcraft has always been a game for anybody.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. And if you'd like to see more videos, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like, you can support my work on Patreon. Links to all that stuff can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.